Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a privilege to listen to a message from Indonesia government representing the President of the Republic of Indonesia, Joko Widodo. Please welcome the Chairman of Indonesia Investing Coordinating Board, Mr. Thomas Trikasih Lembong.
Honorable colleague from the cabinet, Menkominfo Parudiantara, Honorable Pak Frankie Wijaya, our senior from the business community, dear Rohit from Temasek and Kai Fung from EDB, unicorns, founders, VCs, management, community, very good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, this being East Ventures, I had to get very millennial very quick, and that explains the hoodie that I quickly throw on before I get on stage. In a sign of solidarity between BKPM and the Economic Development Board, Kai Fung and I decided to color coordinate today. So I hope you all notice because we went through the trouble. But no, seriously, very heartiest congratulations to Willson, Batara, Taiga, and all the staff at East Ventures, all the members of the East Ventures ecosystem on an incredible 10 years journey. As the MC mentioned, I'm here to represent President Jokowi in conveying his warmest congratulations and regards to all of you. As you know, he loves you guys. He's so excited by what all of you are doing. And I think the 10-year milestone of East Ventures is a wonderful opportunity to take stock of where we are and plot our path forward. I thought on this occasion, I just want to convey 3 messages, some of which might sound familiar because they're a continuation of what I've been conveying over the last few months. I think first, I want to harken back to the comments I made the last time I represented the president at an event like this, which was Chief Rudiantara's Next Corn Conference in Bali. And as some of you might remember, at that time I already cautioned, get ready for a downturn, right? Sort of my smaller version of President Jokowi's winter is coming, right? And I cautioned everyone that amidst all the excitement, let's not forget that the funding process also, the funding ecosystem also goes through its own cycle, right? Well, today, I would argue that looking at the challenges faced by Uber and Lyft after their IPO, and looking at the challenges faced by WeWork, I would argue that the sanity check has arrived, right? The downturn or the slowdown has arrived. So I think first I want to caution all of us again that we better be prepared. I think as President Jokowi has been pointing out over the last few weeks, last few months, World Bank has been warning about the global economic slowdown. And look, to safeguard everything that we've achieved, everything that East Ventures has achieved and continues to achieve, I think I want to urge all of us to prepare for the slowdown, right? I know it's not a very fun message, but look, we, the government, Chief Rudiantara, myself, right, the president, we all care so deeply about what you're doing. And frankly, from an investment perspective, we become so dependent on the continuation of the capital inflow into e-commerce and digital economy, right? I think, a message of sobriety, a message of planning and precautionary measures behooves us at this stage. What does this mean? I would argue that for VCs and entrepreneurs, we need to plan for potentially a you know, imagine like a 2-year funding drought. Imagine you cannot raise capital for 2 years, right? How would you adjust your business plan? How would you, you know, cut back or make sure you can continue, right? Now, the second thing I just wanted to touch on briefly is, you know, this timing of this event is actually very fortuitous. As we know, we only have 2 weeks left until the end of President Jokowi's first term and the beginning of the second term. I think here, I want to share some optimism. As you can imagine, Minister Rudiantara, Minister Luhut, myself, we've been in cabinet meetings practically every week, preparing for the president's second term agenda. And I think what I can promise you is a big, renewed push on economic reform, right? I think, you know, one litmus test, one key reform measure will be reform of the labor law. I think that's one request that we're getting uniformly from all investors, from all members of the business community. I think other reforms that are in the works are further revision to the negative list. And look, I urge you all to get on board, frankly. Please understand that things like the legislation with respect to KPK, right, the Corruption Eradication Commission, these are all part of a process because politics involves give and take, right? Like, in order for us to get the things that we need, we also have to be able to give some things that we have to give, right? And legislation, politics is a process of give and take, right? So, now, lastly, I just want to convey to all of you, Willson, Pak Batara, Taiga, you're now the elder statesman of the venture capital community, right? And frankly, the last thing I want to leave everyone with is like this. I predict that all of you are poised for still more success, right? Higher and higher valuations, more and more wealth created, more and more revolutionary platforms, revolutionary solutions that enable tens of millions of entrepreneurs, tens of millions of consumers, right? But I think learning from what's happening around the world, I guess the last message I would leave you with is, let's also start preparing, let's also start thinking about the inevitable techlash, right? And if you look at the enormous success of the technology companies in the United States, I think, you know, we have to also look at the flip side of it, which is the backlash, both against the technology as well as against the enormous wealth that is being created, right? I think the venture capital community, the startup and digital economy ecosystem is now becoming so large, becoming so high profile, becoming so widespread in your impact to so many different aspects of daily life, to so many people, that over time, we can no longer live in a bubble. We can no longer run separate from the social challenges, the civil society challenges that the country, the society, the economy face, right? So I think as you continue to build wealth, as you continue to disperse funds, as you continue to build your businesses, I think collectively we have to start maturing into a more policy-involved community, right? So things like inequality, things like environmental, things like, you know, underemployment or the struggle of vast numbers of our fellow citizens in trying to make ends meet and improve our income. These are going to be issues that all of us here are going to have a harder and harder time avoiding in our week-to-week and month-to-month life, right? And again, I think we can draw instruction and inspiration from the challenges faced by the top technology companies in the USA, right? Already we see, you know, the CEOs, the founders of the big tech companies being dragged before Congress, right? Congressional hearings and the like. I applaud our colleagues from Singapore. They dragged the tech companies in front of parliamentary hearings in Singapore, and I think recently also passed some of the toughest, strictest privacy laws, some of the strictest and toughest anti-hoax, anti-fake news laws in the world. This gives us a sense, a picture of what's coming, right? As the digital economy continues to grow, as all of you continue to build out this ecosystem, I think it's going to be hard to avoid policy and from there politics, right? Certainly I wish all of you at East Ventures all the success, all the best. Actually, I remember when I first tried to find Willson, like 8 or 9 years ago, maybe, because I had become obsessed with trying to find the Indonesian version of Amazon Kindle, right, or Apple iBooks. And I finally found and fell in love with this little app called Scoop, right? And so, of course, I searched, right, who's behind this Scoop, ebooks and e-magazines app, and that led me to Willson. And I'm very grateful because I remember I was nobody back then, right? I was just a fellow venture capitalist, and Willson was willing to come to my office to share his experiences and discuss, compare notes. And then I think a couple of years later, we hosted a global organization of fund managers called 2020 in Jakarta, and we invited Willson to attend to give a speech on the budding digital economy and e-commerce sector. This was 2014, about 9 months before I joined the cabinet. And to now find ourselves at this juncture, is it seed fund number 7, growth fund number 1, 10 years of building the ecosystem, truly a phenomenal and proud achievement. So congratulations and all the best. So once again, we're at your disposal. As Minister Luhut said, you've become a crucial fixture of the Indonesian economy, and we wish you all the best as we head into the President's second term. Thank you very much.
Mr. Thomas, would you please remain on stage? And now I would like to invite Mr. Willson Cuaca to join us on the stage.
So, Pak Tom has been a great supporter, and that international panel is so important because I keep talking and nobody understands what I'm talking about. Then I realized that nobody realized there's an opportunity in Indonesia. So for that reason, we give this special picture for you. And it says that digital economy supporter from day one. Because since day one, Pak Tom has been believing in us. And your day one in office, you came to our hackathon in Istana Merdeka, Hackathon Merdeka. Yeah. Thank you, sir, for your interest. Thank you so much.